1975, there was a slapstick, almost Three Stooges series called The Ghostbusters. 13 episodes, so one full season was made of it. It included 2 bumbling guys and a gorilla. Didn't really go anywhere. Then in the 80s, a movie called Ghostbusters took off. The owners of the 1975 series says, hey, we still own the rights to a show called Ghostbusters. Let's make a cartoon based off of our show, and people will think that it has something to do with the movie, because people are silly. So everyone's watching the show called Ghostbusters, like, why does it have nothing to do with the movie? People from the 70s are like, I remember something about this. Then, of course, when the makers of the movie who own that franchise wanted to make a cartoon, they're like, what's going on? There was a lawsuit, so they called their series The Real Ghostbusters as a sort of way of thumb their noses at the guys who did Ghostbusters. Real Ghostbusters lasted way longer and was way more successful than...
It had Bill Murray.
No, I'm talking about the cartoon. Cartoon actually had Lorenzo Music playing Bill Murray's role.
That's actually sacrilegious.
No, because Lorenzo Music is the voice of Garfield. And funny enough...
You couldn't get Bill Murray into a cartoon.
Yeah. Funny enough,
Come on.
Bill Murray would then play the voice of Garfield in the live-action movies like 20 years later.
Adora,
Why is it the exact
He-Man's
same?
twin sister.
He-Man's
twin sister. Okay, that's why.
Crystal Castle.
I think this lady's pretending. I think it's the wife, you know, from He-Man, wife of the guy, the janitor guy, and the janitor, and they're working together.
She starts filming her own TV show about herself battling people, and it's just all puppets, but she's using her imagination to make them come alive. But really, she's just a janitor in a castle playing with puppets.
Do you think the show was successful? 2 seasons?
I think it probably only had 2 seasons. There we go.
There.
And so I guess successful then, yeah. I think the toy line came after the show. But this is all long after He-Man's already been out, so. You get a brother and a sister watching TV together.
Yeah.
Sister's getting tired of watching the brother's shows all the time. She wants her own show. He's a big fan of He-Man, so they make She-Ra. They can watch He-Man and She-Ra together.
About this kid who doesn't know that those things actually turn into different vehicles, and he just rides on this little robot thing, and he just goes somewhere, like I think he goes to any like restaurants or anything, and he just eats there.
Group of teenagers, they're really rich. Their parents make masks for a living. They put them on, and they don't realize that they're like future weapon masks, and they turn everyone's vision into like just battle vision. And these teenagers are like, we're reckless, we're young, and then the entire series is them just causing mayhem. And the actual military is like, these kids need to stop causing mayhem on this planet.
Did the show last 2 or more seasons?
I don't think it did. I think they started out really strong. They had a budget, like a good budget. That was a wicked intro. But then I just think it wasn't popular. 'Cause I've never heard of this.
2 seasons.
I want to say the toys came first.
No.
No.
Believe it or not, the toys lasted longer than the show. There were 4 series of toys. So, and an adventure pack or something. So it lasted 3 years after the show ended.
Wow. Like I said, the toys would be way cooler than the show.
In a distant time and far
This guy protecting this donkey is a awesome guy, but he's actually a real brave star, and he actually is pretending about this donkey being a brave star, but it isn't.
What is a brave star though?
It's part of the team. There's also this other character in here that I don't understand. This guy, he looks like 60 or 70.
So, pilot episode, I don't know the hero's name.
Brave Star,
I think it's Brave Star. I don't know how many times it said it, but he was in the saloon, and it's just a regular day in New Texas, laser robot bartenders, mechanical piano players,
What kind of drinks do laser robot bartenders serve?
circuit shots.
What?
Wow.
$5 circuit shots.
Tell you.
The anthropomorphic horse is a little weird. I'm just putting that one out there. I think it had just 2 seasons.
Just one.
I want to say that if you have an anthropomorphic horse with a bazooka, that's gotta come straight out of Japan. But no, I think the show came first.
Nope. Toys
No.
came first.
Oh, really?
I'm sorry.
It's about this guy named Inspector.
Okay, what does he do?
He fixes stuff and he pretends that he's a policeman so policemen don't chase him.
So the pilot episode, brief little clips here and there, a brief little introduction to the character of the inspector, and it shows how poor he is of an inspector. And then it shows the chief of police and all the other police officers in the city, and they're having this big meeting, and they exclude him. It's a private meeting, and they're all saying, "This inspector is the worst. Why do we hire him? He gets everything wrong. He's the worst. He can't do anything. He can't run fast. He can't drive properly. He can't get to where the bad guys are in time. You know, he can't do anything right. Let's turn him into a robot. We just got a lot of funding and extra money. Let's turn him into a robot so maybe he can at least do something." And then they turn him into a robot, and they're really happy because they think Inspector Gadget is going to be the best inspector in the world, and he still sucks.
Did it last 2 or more seasons?
Oh yeah, it has to have. I want to say it lasted 4 seasons, but maybe I'm optimistic because it just looks so awesome. 2? That was it?
Just 2.
Just 2.
Toys first, toys after.
After. The show this cool. This is straight out of some weirdo's brain. Not off of a toy line.
There's not actually a lot about their toys. It was probably just a very standard merchandise line. Like there's not even an entry on Wikipedia about it. It's probably just some action figures that came out of that.
The only
That's about
toys
it.
I'm pretty sure this show actually sucks.
I think it was about these cats daydreaming. Dreaming about them being heroes and they live in the sky. And they have their owner stronger and handsomer, powerfuler, and on the end of the movie, the owner says, "Stop daydreaming," and then the cats are like,
The guy with the whip that's just 3 beads, someone turns into a whip, he's really hungry. And all his friends are like, "Okay, Steve, you're always hungry and you're always complaining about how hungry you are.
Come on,
Why don't
Steve.
you just go out into the next door village? They're only a few miles away, and why don't you just ask them for some food? Because you're definitely not going to eat all of our food, because that's all you do, is eat our food."
Thundercats was unfortunately successful. Like, more than they should have been. I think they had more than 2 seasons. Yeah. I think toys first as well. You got a cat man with a giant sword and a ninja cat lady. You could sell those toys.
It's both. The show was first conceived and they started production on it in '82, and then the toys, they went into development. However, the show had such huge production difficulties that it didn't air until '85. So the toys beat it out, even though the toys were made in response to the show.
That's weird. That was like a trick question almost.
It is, yeah.
about this really ugly girl who turns into pretty girls and uglier, and it's about these ugly girls who have very, very bad hair ideas.
And it was just the 80s, okay?
So it's like it's 1980s, early 1980s, and bands are just becoming the most important thing in life. And this girl's like, I need to be a rock star. I need a band now.
Does she have a lisp?
No?
You just had a little bit of a list when you said it as her.
Oh.
I need to be a rock star.
Okay.
The character Jem, as the singer of this band, she seems really self-centered. Like, the whole band is playing, they're rocking out, and all she's going on about is how her name's Jem, no one's
Yeah.
like her, you know?
Yeah.
No one's the same as
She just goes
is.
on stage and just sings about herself.
Yeah, she's really self-centered. I bet there's no way this show was successful. They can't have been. I refuse to. I don't care if Steve corrects me. I refuse to believe that it went up for more than one, like the pilot. No, it was a pilot, and that was it.
Daniel, this was the 80s. this is anything's possible in the 80s.
They tell me there was a policy that they only aired the episodes at Super Prom.
Yeah, only a Super Bowl.
Daniel,
There can't have been toys. What are the toys? Like just figurines with guitars. That? No, there's no way there was even a toy line. I refuse.
there absolutely was a toy line, and it flopped. It did terribly. The toy line came after the cartoon. Basically, Hasbro wanted to compete against Barbie, so they created Jem. They put out the toy line, but the toy line flopped. So I have just a couple questions for you. Which show was your favorite? Which show would you never ever watch? And which show would you think you would write maybe a bit differently? Like, would you take the potential and make something awesome out of it?
My favorite was Go Go Gadget.
Oh, like Inspector Gadget. Nice.
My favorite was Brave Star, just because I had an idea in my head a few years ago about like this cowboy, but I wanted it to be filmed in the 80s, and I can't go back in time to create a show and be in the 80s and create a show about like some Wild West, laser guns, crazy action. But seeing Brave Star exist just makes me so happy, so that's my favorite.
Transformers will always have a place here, so that's probably my favorite. Plus, you know, more than meets the eye.
Jim.
She-Ra and the Princess of Power, just because it's I don't know, it's like a money grab,
Yeah, it's
but
too much
like
of a
gone
rip-off.
horribly wrong.
Oh my god, Ghostbusters. I don't even understand what was going on in that intro. I'm like, why is there a gorilla here? Every 4 bars, there's like a it's like
Yes.
Which one?
Go Go Gadget.
And I'd love to be on the writing board for that as well. Even if I didn't like contribute very much to it, just to like be a part of that project, that would be amazing.
I think if you were to contribute part of that, the bazooka horse would probably be your contribution.
Gem, man. Super prom all the way. First of all, Gem won prom queen 17 years in a row. and because of that, they decided the 80s had to continue. So even though it was the 90s, they still called it the 80s. So for 37 years in a row, it was still
37?
the 80s, right? And that's why Gem started to age.
Daniel, it hasn't even been 37 years since the 80s.
That's all we got right now. Interesting little discussion there. Why don't you send us a video response as to what your favorite 80s cartoon was, or which 80s cartoon you thought sucked, or which 80s cartoon no one seems to remember. And drop us a line sometime. We'll see you in the future.
Gem is my name!
Why